They told me bust out my AP, perfect timing. Got them baguettes up on my neck, I stay shining. It's never hot around my jewelry, chase a climbing. I went and got that new Maybach, I stayed grinding. They told me bust out my AP, perfect timing. Got them baguettes up on my neck, I stay shining. It's never hot around my jewelry, chase a climbing. I went and got that new Maybach, I stayed grinding. Came with me, yeah they lying. I ain't even hit my peak, I ain't trying. 100K for a signing.
All right, welcome in to another edition, Voice of Colorado, Voice of College Football, Colorado. Hopefully you guys like the new intro. Got to a point. Wifey asked if it was. She goes, "Is it just Baylor?" I was like, "Well, it was like probably the best game of the season last year." But also at the same time, and it was just the Nebraska game with Bobby Purify and Chris Brown. So, but hopefully you guys like that. Let's get rolling today. Again, welcome in. I'm your host Manny. Appreciate you all for being with us tonight. Regardless, tuning in now, later, if you joined us on for Monday's show, appreciate that as well. Again, please make sure to subscribe, like the video. And then on Twitter, make sure you follow me. So Manny at Manny769-33725. Promise that's not a phone number. It's an actual Twitter handle. A lot of numbers there. And so again, make sure you follow it. We're trying to grow this channel. All right, let's jump into it. So today's show, we're gonna introduce something new. It's called Ralphie Report. So this will be our news and notes of the day. Any brand new news that came in today, anything we need to be aware of. We're going to talk camp updates. So camp started officially Monday. Team didn't hit the field until Tuesday. So yesterday, and on the field again today. We'll talk recruiting. And we'll talk a little bit more ins and outs with that. And then today we are going to dive into the offensive line. Which again, I am from the last video, I am extremely excited for that one. This is where, in my opinion, Buffs made the biggest jump this offseason. So let's start off with Ralphie Report. So pretty cool scene. Charlie Offerdahl, so maybe not necessarily this, but Charlie Offerdahl, running back, retires from football. So last year is his last season. He has been dealing with some concussions. Again, in this with CTE, all these things that are going on, it's a great move for this young man. Played his last game, a couple last season. Thankfully, he got that big run and a touchdown last season. Prime, though, Coach Prime did say he's going to keep him on scholarship, even though he's not going to be with the team this year, practicing any of that. But it is huge that he is, keeping him on scholarship again. I think this goes to show that what Prime's doing there in Boulder is, putting education first. So he's going to let Charlie continue being on scholarship. And what Charlie said is he wants to go be a dentist. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what his father does as well. But this is all great news for him. Great news, also sad at the same time. He's a huge part of the team. Practiced hard every single day. Every time he's there, gave it 110%. And again, Colorado kid. So we wish you nothing but the best, Charlie. Great move, great decision on your part. Next, we got. Let's talk about some camp notes. So we've seen a couple. We've seen a couple videos come out from camp. One that came out today, we talked about him on Monday, was London Merritt, our freshman out of IMG. I don't know if anybody has seen it. You, Twitter it, X it, whatever it's called. But he knocked a pass down and picked it off and took it the other way. So in a game that would have been 6 the other way. Again, this kid has a high ceiling, low floor. Chose the Buffs over Ohio State. And again, we're going to keep hitting on this IMG pipeline, but they produce players ready to play at the Power 4 level on day one. So again, he's going to get some burn this year and have just a huge year. Next one is one that I'm really huge on, Omari Miller. Every video is almost seems like it is him. So O has just been having a fantastic first 2 days. We had a pass thrown, corner of the end zone. They were practicing in Folsom yesterday. Nice fade, caught that, beat his guy off the line. Great play by O. And then today, caught a one-hander in the back of the end zone. I want to say he got 2 feet down, so that's good on Sunday as well. But again, this isn't a surprise for anybody. You watched him his the first year, freshman year versus USC. When he was in there, receivers got hurt again, and then even against Kansas State last year, when all the receivers seemed to get hurt, and including him, which knocked him out for the year. He had 145 yards against Kansas State last year, 8 catches. He was going off. And again, I firmly believe that if he didn't get hurt in that game, CU would have pulled that off. We would have been having a different conversation at the end of last season. It would have been talking Big 12 title game. And who knows at that point where that ends up. Buffs win the Big 12, they're in the playoffs. So, again, he is a huge part, someone that within the next couple months is going to be a household name. He should be able to get himself top 50, top 60 draft picks if he decides to come out. But he is going to have a huge year this year. In my opinion, probably end up being the top 2, top 3 wide receiver in the Big 12, if not the best. But he is going to have a fantastic year. So watch him, number 4. Now let's talk a little bit about the quarterbacks. Caden Salter today. So nice throw on the run for a touchdown to Isaiah Harge in the middle of the end zone. But you see Caden starts drifting out to the right using his legs. This, Caden Salter, athletic as can be. Threw it on the run, right on a dime to Isaiah Harge. And again, Isaiah Harge, our guy that is looking to play both ways, offense and defense. Even in last year, Harge, Prime was talking about him at one practice, pulled him aside, cameras there. It's like, you guys know who this is. You know who he is. This is our next one. This is the next Travis Hunter. A lot of weight to put on that young man's shoulder. And then Caden Salter, great fade route that we talked. He is the one who threw that to O in the back of the end zone there. And again, this athleticism seems to be showing up every day. This is going to add a new wrinkle, new element to the game. I am really, really excited for Caden Salter this year. It's gonna be different without Shador there, Travis there. But I think this QB room is in great hands. And to Julian Lewis, nice pass in the end zone to Joseph Williams. So Juju to JoJo, he had a great route. He's looking good. This QB competition, there's a saying, you have 2 QBs, you don't have one. I don't think that's the case with this. Buffs have 2 really good QBs. And I just think they're all best man will win. But again, I think we'll see both quarterbacks as well. Who gets to start? I think that's one of the questions that was asked by Chad Bolton. Who gets to start? I think we'll see how camp goes. Part of me wants to say Caden Salter gets to start just because he's older. And I don't think a lot of people know Caden Salter's background either. This dude was a former 4-star in the 21 class, committed to Tennessee right out of high school. So I believe it was 2020, December, enrolled early, started 2021, went through that span. I believe it was in June. So early enrolled in January of 21. Then he moved, I think it was May or June of 21. So 5-6 months on campus. He ends up transferring to Liberty. And at Liberty, he was the G5 player of the year. So our group of 5 teams that are, FBS still, group of 5 player of the year there. This dude is really, really good. Ranked number 7 as a prospect coming out of high school, 7th quarterback, and I believe he was 45, ranked as the 45th prospect nationally. It's not like they just got some guy that came out of nowhere. Caden Salter is really, really good. And, with Julian Lewis, again, I don't think we have to say much. Him, with my dive of scouting, the things that I like to look at, and what I do for what I call fun, scouting players, putting them through. We'll talk more about a program a little bit later, but one of the best quarterbacks I've ever scouted. This dude was a 5-star, enrolled early. Moved up a class, because technically Julian Lewis should be at, getting ready in high school camp right now for his senior year. This dude's a junior. He was a junior last year. Now he's entering as a kid at CU. But again, this is going to be a hard competition. Part of me says it's Caden Salter. But I think you're going to see a 2 QB system, and we'll talk more about that as we do a quarterback breakdown. I'm going to hold that one for the last show, just because it's I think it's most intriguing. Like compared to last year, we look at camp. We look at camp last year, and we knew who the starting quarterback was, no question, nothing like that. And we, to an extent, not to say anything about those other guys, but Shador was just, way better than every other quarterback at the position that was on the roster. This will be Caden's last year. He has 1 year eligible here at CU. I want to say he has a grad transfer year as well. But we'll see. I mean, I fully expect, though, this is a 1 year thing, and you'll see Juju playing next year. You'll see him playing next year. That is the feature of the Colorado Buffaloes program. Julian Lewis. All roads lead to Julian Lewis. Build around him. So let's move on. And again, just, I would say alert on social media. Watch those clips of the Buffs practicing. Those guys look fired up. Prime came in. They shared a video. Prime went in this morning and shared tons of enthusiasm, ready to go. You had what was it, yesterday morning? Byron Leftwich, now the quarterback coach. I think they have him under a different role, like offensive analyst or some kind of role like that. But he's a new QB coach, had him ready to roll. I think, this Buff team I think they're getting ready to roll. It's going to be a big season for them. So let's move into recruiting. Let me pull, I'm going to pull something up real quick, a chart of the commits that have, for this 26 class, committed to CU. Let's get that pulled up. So hopefully we can see all that. But here is the list of players that have committed to CU. So let's start there with Preston Ashley. So total right now we have there's 9 total committed to Colorado, with a couple more on the horizon here. A couple commit dates here on the horizon. The Buffs are they're doing great right now. We look at it. There's 2 4-stars I should say 3 4-stars. The 2 DeMonte Pecco Jr. So he's an edge. His dad is the defensive line coach. Same name, just take off the junior. But he is a 4-star recruit coming from junior college. So we'll talk a little bit about him. But the Rodney Colton Jr. linebacker, that was a couple weeks ago. Preston Ashley, 4-stars. So these are your 3 4-star recruits coming in. And again, these depend on where you get your information from, whether it's On 3, 24/7. I want to call it Rivals, but Rivals and On 3 merged. But these are the guys that we have. Carson Crawford, linebacker. Gavin Miller, tight end. That was, I want to say, around a month or so ago. DeMonte Timms, safety. Colby Johnson, linebacker. Maurice Williams, cornerback. Xavier Payne, offensive tackle. So just to dive a little bit more into them, let's start with Preston Ashley. So he, for the 2026, he's 214th national, number 21 cornerback, and the 9th rated player in Mississippi. This dude, so he committed on mid-June 24th, I want to say. Explosive, twitchy corner, elite athleticism, strongman coverage skills. Ashley, he flashed physicality at the line, sharp instincts in the open field, a natural competitor with high upside. So this dude fits perfectly in Deion Sanders and Rob Livingston's defensive identity. Again, they play a ton of man-to-man. Preston Ashley, he is going to succeed, excel. Really great fit right there. Now the next one, Rodney Colton Jr. So linebacker, another 4-star. He's ranked number 239th nationally. Number 15 linebacker, and the number 23rd in Georgia. So number 23rd overall recruit in Georgia. This dude is this is a huge recruit. You know, there's been lots of comments. There's been lots of talk about him. You know, about Coach Hart not being able to get him in that into the linebacker room. They got a 4-star here. This dude, prototypical modern linebacker, fast, instinctive, comfortable in space. So about 6'1", 220 pounds. Again, he's not the biggest name yet. He fits, again, the mold of this defense. You know, real high character. I would say year one, you probably see him a little bit touching the field. And then year two, you know, you're probably looking at him year two on as a starter. And again, you know, like every kid coming out of high school, need to add strength, need to hit the weight room, but Swayze will get him, he'll get him into shape. And that's their strength and conditioning coach. Fantastic. He's doing an amazing job. Just gives them another piece, versatile piece for their linebacking. Real quick to the questions. CU alum here. Will there still be Disney-like magic this year? I mean, I don't know what you describe as it, but I still think there's going to be some fireworks. Again, Amarian Miller is it's going to be a household name. You know, we can talk about a couple, you know, as we go through the position breakdown, you know, that running back room, a player that the Buffs got in the transfer portal from Incarnate Word. Real excited for him. So lots of states represented up there. Nice to see recruiting outside of Texas, Florida, California. Lots of good talent in other states. Absolutely. And I think, you know, you start to see this trend a little bit. You know, last year, I believe the top three, you know, Texas, obviously, Florida, Georgia, and California was sitting at fourth for the most, you know, the highest recruits. But yeah, I think, you know, as you can see, Prime, his staff, so Box, Coach Phillips, they're hitting the recruiting trail right now, all over the place. You know, there was a point during the middle of the summer where one was like in Georgia, the others were in Southern California. They've been putting in that work on the road, getting players into the Colorado program. So, not, you know, working their tails off to get these on the recruiting trail right now. Let's continue with this. Let's look at Gavin Mueller, tight end. So South Elgin, Illinois, 3-star. So I believe last year was his first year playing football. This dude is huge. So 6'5", 255 pounds. Just a massive kid, tons of growth still. Again, he's entering his senior year. I'm really excited for him. This is going to be one of those tight ends that come in, and we are going to see him grow right before our eyes. And by the end of this thing, you know, I think even by the end of this year, he's a 3-star going into his senior year. You'll see him as a 4-star by the end of it. So physically imposing tight end, background in track and field, shot put, so good athleticism for his size. Again, started playing as a junior. So I would say these are kind of interesting. You know, with the kid this big, he's going to what he needs to, you know, from the film that I watched, one of the spots that needs to work on, and again, this will happen. Just, you know, the blocking and physicality of it, and you know, but he is really good. He can be physical at the line of the scrimmage, getting off press, getting off of those kind of things, and then box out defenders. You know, he turns into a basketball player that goes up and gets the rebound when it's thrown at him. But really excited for Gavin Miller. That's one to keep an eye on. Our next one is Carson Crawford, linebacker out of Carthage, Texas, 3-stars. So I want to say it's him and Edwards, running back that visited CU over this early summer and was just like, this is about to be RBU. Edwards, not Dylan. I do want to say Dylan Edwards. That's our friend over there at Kansas State. But this dude, 6'3", 215 pounds, number 724 nationally, number 52 linebacker, and the number 99th overall player in Texas. And again, Texas, if you're new to the recruiting world, talking about it, that's the mecca of high school football, where recruits come from. So being number 99 in Texas is that's huge. That's a good football player. So he's a versatile linebacker, played multiple positions for a successful Texas high school program. You kind of start to wonder a little bit if he gets overseen because of the running back there that we talked about, Edwards. Man, I cannot think of his name, but noted for his high motor, good linear closing speed, ability to redirect. So this dude will be a power 4 linebacker, a legitimate power 4 linebacker with significant long-term potential. Really excited for this kid. I don't think there's one on the list that I'm not excited for as of right now. We jumped down. So like we talked about, Demonte Pecco Jr., out of Calabasas, California, edge player. So this is again, like we talked about, his dad over the offseason accepted the CU as D-line coach. One of them, I should say. There's a handful of them now with SAP and like we talked about on Monday's show. But he is 6'4", 220 pounds. So again, he will have 2 years of eligibility remaining. But he recorded 2 sacks this past year, I believe it was, recorded 2 sacks and 3 TFLs. So he will be entering another season there, where at the JUCO level. But again, this is a huge get. And again, we talked about this, as we've seen, there was, a lot of talk about the Polynesian pipeline. Pecco, they brought some kids in, far more than they did last year with, Polynesian descent. And this is, I'm excited for that. Hopefully they start landing these players again and get that back in, because those dudes can play ball, man. Let's look at Xavier Payne, offensive tackle. So out of Orlando, Florida. So he is ranked number 935 nationally. KJ Edwards, there you go. Yeah, I always want to call him Dylan Edwards for some reason. I'm gonna probably, even if he one day, comes back, hits the portal and hits, he's just probably gonna be Dylan Edwards, and I feel like he should wear number 3. But beside the point, back to Xavier Payne, number 935 nationally, ranked as the number 78th offensive tackle, and ranked 106th in Florida. Again, we're talking Florida here, being ranked, 106th in Florida is, it's a huge honor to do that. He is again, good football player. This dude is massive. So 6'7", 320 pounds. And again, this is something we're going to hit to a little bit later when we start diving deeper into the offensive line. But we look at these things, the offensive line is getting huge. I think we are starting to see now what it is CU is after. And again, it is like a huge offensive line, a dominating offensive line. Again, it always starts up front. So with him, massive offensive tackle, elite size and strength, described as a people mover, significant upside at either tackle or guard. Again, the Colorado coaching staff will be able to, figure out the best fit for him, where he needs to be. And again, that the staff, like we talked about, a lot of, Andre Giroud's there now, former CU legend there. Again, he was blocking right there at the intro for Bobby Purify and Chris Brown there in that Nebraska game. But even at the NFL level, Andre Giroud was a really, really good player. So really excited that he's on the staff. But Xavier Payne, back to him, sky's the limit for this guy, and I think, we keep going through these players, talking about them. And, a trend that you're going to see is these are really, really high upside guys. And again, we can sit here and talk about the 3-star recruit that they are, but that is where you build your team. It's kind of, when you look at the NFL draft, what is it, round 3 through 6, round 3 through 7? That's where you build your roster. That's where you build your depth. Again, you look at these 3-star recruits; they're the ones who get drafted the most. And again, there's more of 3-star recruits coming out of high school because, again, that 4-star and 5-star is pretty rare to get, especially that 5-star. But these 3-star players, though, this is where you build your roster at. This is where you get your depth. This is where you get players that, were under recruited, whether it be for one reason or another. But the buffs here with all of these guys have these are really, really high ceiling guys, low floor. So next guy is safety DeMonte Timms, Steffner, Florida, three-star player. The 24/7 sports composite ranking for him, number 1055 national, number 96 safety, and again we have Florida again, number 124 in Florida. 6'1", 195 pounds. Again, prototypical size. I would expect him to put some more, weight and probably, an inch or two here before he even steps on foot at campus. So again, in my opinion, elite safety prospect. Decommitted from Missouri to join Colorado. Versatile in the secondary. Ability to make plays on the ball. Records tackles, PBUs, INTs, and sacks in his junior season. You're getting a good safety here, all-around safety. And again, this by the end of the season, would not be shocked to see him move up in the 4-star range as well. We move into Colby Johnson, linebacker. So out of Washington, 3-star. So Sammamish, Washington. So he is number 1,330 nationally, number 117 linebacker, and number 13 in the state of Washington. 6'2", 195 pounds. And again, he has a good frame to be able to put on some weight and an inch or two before he gets there. And again, this CU recruiting staff, they're building a monster. These players are coming in, a few years ago, right? Like 4 years ago, even at this point, we would have been like, holy cow, they landed 2 4-stars. Wow, they got all these 3-stars. So this is huge. This is huge. You can definitely tell the prime effect here, even just in the recruiting. So he's described as a fast physical linebacker, exceptional speed, ran a 10.87 100-meter, two-way player, strong open field tackler. We'll see where they use him at, but he can play inside or outside linebacker. Interested to see where they end up lining him up at. But again, that's year away before he stepped. Well, I shouldn't say year. Early enroll, tons of options, but before he touches the actual field, a year away from that. Our last guy that I wanted to talk about, Maurice Williams. So this is a cornerback out of New Orleans. So he is 128th quarterback, 41st in Louisiana. And so this guy, 5'11", 172 pounds. Really excited for him. Don't know a ton about him just yet. Got to watching a little bit of tape on him yesterday afternoon. Wasn't able to, fully make a scouting report on him. Just a little bit more about him. Edna Carr High School in New Orleans. 16 offers. Official visits to Colorado. I want to say he originally, if I remember correctly, committed to Liberty, decommitted, and then here he is with CU now. So we'll see with him. Very excited. Received a couple offers from some Power 4 teams as well. And again, what other better place to go than Colorado than to learn from Prime? So we'll see about him. I want to watch some more film on him and get a better understanding of him. But that is right now the total commits. So again, it's 9. I believe I can get that for the next show, but it is. We'll look at it though. There's a few dates that are coming up that we should be aware of for recruits. Commitment dates where they're going to announce. So I think that needs to be on the horizon, and I'll get those pushed out as well. So with this though, just comment if you guys can what you think about this. So something I like to do in my spare time is write scouting reports where I learned how to do it. And part of it is, I would like to start sharing these with you all about some of the players that Colorado is interested in. And being able just to give, the look to what it looks like to actually look at a scouting report versus being told kind of, on, you'll see them sometimes, but they'll just give you a couple sentences here and there. But what critical factors are, alerts are, what this needs to look like, areas to improve on, strength 1, 2, 3. So I would like to push that out there just to get our viewers here a little more familiar, give them some more content to look at, a couple more things to even talk about. And again, I'm not the end all be all by any means, but I think that more we know about it, even take some pointers from you all if you're willing. But really would love to share this out. So comment, let me know here if that's something you all would be interested in. But we'll see how that goes. So, what is the likelihood these commits make it on campus and don't commit? As far as visiting, or I don't understand the question. So I guess it depends if they, so if they sign the letter, they're committed. Verbal commitments right now, which is the season that we're in. Verbally commits kind of mean nothing. It is what it is. But I think where we need to, will they stay with CU? Depends, I guess. Everything's different. There is a very, very, so will they stay with CU? So it just depends. So the transfer portal, as we all seen over the past couple seasons, is unpredictable. Your best player enters it. We look at the situation, with Tennessee with their quarterback. Even some of the other, so now I'm going to say, Dylan Edwards a couple years ago, right? Grew up playing for Coach Prime, and he left Kansas State. We're back to Kansas. I said that's where he grew up. So it just depends. It's really, really unpredictable. I do think NIL with the 20.5 million kind of put a salary cap in place there. So we shouldn't see as many moving around. I wouldn't think. But again, this is kind of flying by the seat of their pants right now. All of this, the portal, the players that enter it. It just depends, I guess, on the player at this point and what they want to do. It is very, very unpredictable. But great question. Let's move let's look at the O-line now. This is a position, like, I kind of talked about in the intro, that I am really, really excited for. In my opinion, this is where you win. You win football games in the trenches. So, hence why we started with the D-line and O-line. Not the pretty positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, corner, lineman. It's not those positions. These are the unsung heroes. And this is where football games are won in the trenches. So let's just do a little real quick recap of 2024. Offensive line struggled in 2024, ranking near the bottom of the FBS in most metrics. So allowed 43 sacks. And in the 2024 college football season, that's tied for the 124th worst among FBS teams. So they average just 65 rushing yards per games. And again, what we do have to remember is when a quarterback in college gets sacked, the negative sack yardage counts as a rushing attempt. So if it's negative, it pulls it off. And then they ranked 110th in rushing efficiency. And again, this is, was not a good season. And again, we go back to it. I know, we talked about maybe Shador, Little, Travis, but kind of crazy what Shador was able to do with this team last year and behind that offensive line. It was really, really bad in 2023, year one there. 2024 got better. And again, and I think that's part of gelling, part of overturning a roster as well. So returning, Philip Houston, Yaya, but Jordan Seaton. This is the leader. This is the leader of the team. He is. I don't know if you guys have seen any pictures of him. This dude looks like a starting NFL offensive tackle. Just a little quick rundown on him. Started all 13 games as a true freshman in 2024. Played 809 snaps, the most on the entire team as far as offensive linemen go, because I don't even know what Travis Hunters was up to at that point last year. He allowed just 3 sacks in 579 pass blocking snaps. And then in the final 11 of 13 games, 0 sacks. He gave up 0. Earned freshman All-American honors. Ranked number 8 amongst offensive tackles entering this season is where PFF has him. And again, he's only going to get better, which is the scary part. It almost feels like that he's not a freshman, just how good he is. Watching him last year grow. And the crazy part is he's still at Colorado the rest of this year. So he has this year and next year. Next year he can declare for the NFL draft. So this dude's only played 1 year. It almost feels like he's been here for forever at this point. Again, I think you will see him when the time's right. He'll be a top 10 NFL draft pick. Elite pass protector. So he posted a 79.2 true pass blocking grade late in the season. So that ranked the top 20 nationally. Again, he is, I think this is where it all starts and ends. The offensive line is with Jordan Seaton. Him returning, him having a year under his belt, he is only going to get better at this point. And again, he's through a whole off season with new strength and conditioning coach Schweize, and he looks like a completely different player than when he entered last year. And again, he looks, long arms, compact. He looks amazing. He looks like a starting left tackle in the NFL right now. So let's talk about some departures. So undergone some serious turnover, and again, with those numbers above, I mean, you kind of have to at that point. And again, like we talked about, it ends in the trenches with your O-line and D-line. So notable departures: Tyler Johnson, graduate transfer, ended up at Coastal Carolina. Khalil Benson transferred to Indiana. A couple of the other guys, Peyton Kirkland, Carter Miller, and then Cash Cleveland. So Cash Cleveland was Jordan Seaton's teammate at IMG, was a first team freshman All-American last year. And again, I think the transfer out was, Cash Cleveland did a fantastic job last year. Would love for him to stay, continue his career with the Buffs. Buffs brought in a ton of offensive linemen. So I think may have rubbed him the wrong way. I'm not sure, but wish nothing but the best for Cash moving forward. In my opinion, had a great season last year as a true freshman. Let's see, graduates. So let me see. So let's talk about transfer portal and recruiting. So the transfer portal. So this is, again, if you've been following them in the prime era, this is where CU does a lot of damage in recruiting. So we look at first one, Xavier Hill out of Memphis. So this dude at a point was ranked the number one offensive tackle, number one player, I should say, in the portal. He played offensive tackle at Memphis. You will see him play guard. He's 6'4", 320 pounds. You're going to see him more than likely at left guard next to Seat. So that side of the offensive line is going to be a problem. So our next guy, man, I hope I don't butcher. If I butcher this, my fault. Akai Ogunbayi from Texas A&M. Humongous interior presence. Can be an anchor, 6'4", 340 pounds. Again, like we talked about earlier, we look at this. CU has brought in some monsters, some huge dudes, some monsters. They're gonna be able to run the football this year. Just going with that. Cooper Lovelace, out of Northwestern, versatile guard tackle, and there's even some speculation of him competing for center right now. 6'5", 315 pounds, coming from Northwestern, tons of experience. Zy Chrysler, Illinois, big frame. So humongous dude. Started for Illinois last year. So for the Illini, they return, I can't remember how many starters. It is I want to say somewhere around 18, 20. But Zy Chrysler, he is one that transferred out. And again, 6'7", 350 pounds. You will see him lined up at right guard. Walker Anderson, UCLA transfer, redshirt in 2024. So now we'll see what happens with him. He's a development player. And again, never hurts to have those guys in. One day he can become a starter on this team. Who knows with the coaching there. And again, the coaching in Boulder is tons of ex-NFL players. So Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he does there. Andre Roy Jr., Maryland. Wasn't a ton on him that I could find. So I would say probably more so some depth there. Larry Johnson III, Tennessee. So again, another massive individual. 6'7", 350 pounds. And I would say more so probably you'll see right tackle was where that competition is at. Manya Mani, Ole Miss, coming from Ole Miss again, appeared in 16 games over two seasons over there at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. Again, size and experience make him a valuable addition to the Buffs offensive front. But yeah, these transfers. So CU wasn't playing in the transfer portal with the offensive line this year. I think, and it is hard to find offensive linemen in the portal. But I think basically almost every single one that came out that was impact player, Colorado was all over. Prime and the recruiting staff, again, Box and Phillips, they were all over that. So again, they have built they are building a monster on the offensive front. So let's talk about just one individual or two individuals, I should say, that are big time recruits. So let's start with Carday Smith. So he was on a couple visits there at CU. Him and Julian Lewis originally committed to USC. They came on a visit out to, was it Cincinnati? I think it was a Cincinnati game. We're on a visit there. Again, powerful frame, high ceiling. I was watching some videos on him, probably, I want to say like January, February. Quick feet, good hand placement. Dude is going to be a player. Glad the Buffs got him. Chauncey Gooden, another 4-star. Offensive guard, 6'3", 380 pounds. This kid, sky's the limit for him. Him and Carday Smith in a year or two, man, that offensive line, those are two anchors of your offensive line. Going to be really fun to watch those two grow. Hudson Stevers, so he's from Evergreen, Colorado, local kid. I would say more so you probably see him take a redshirt year. And again, he has great size and technique, great to work on his size and technique. I want to say he's 6'5", 270, but we'll see him. You'll probably see him play a couple years down the road. So just a lot to work on. Again, he's in the right place for that as well. Looking at this, CU's O-line is rebuilt from the portal. Some elite recruits, elite transfer portal names, players. So really excited. This is Core's huge. Again, they're a huge offensive group. So 6'3", 332, 6'4", 332 pounds, I believe, is the average across the offensive line. I can't remember seeing that in CU probably since those early, since those early 2000 days with Andre Giroud. I think that, man, I feel like that's the last time we've seen that. So really excited for that. This offensive line is going to dominate. Let's talk about this. So projected week 1 starters. So against Georgia Tech, obviously, the easiest one's Jordan Seaton at left tackle. Again, expect big things from him this year. Just to continue growing, he'll be a household name by the end of the season, if not earlier than that. They'll be talking, at some point they're going to talk about him. If he would come out this year, he'd be a top 20 pick or whatever it may be. But Jordan Seaton, sky's the limit for him, and especially him putting in all that work. And again, he is the leader of this football team. Your left guard, Xavier Hill. So that's our transfer from Memphis. And I think, I want to say those two are pretty locked up. That left side is, you can run the ball there all day long. Those two dudes are road graders, great players. And probably both players you'll see playing on Sunday. Center, Zarian McGill. So I like him at center. I forgot to go over him with the transfer portal. But he should be the starter. Now there is a little camp battle going on between him and Cooper Lovelace at the center position. I do think McGill wins it, but I would not be shocked if you see Cooper Lovelace take over at center or even win that position. Again, it's a good problem to have right now. Right guard, Zy Chrysler from Illinois. Again, massive human being. I think it was 6'7", 350. Really excited to see him. And then right tackle. This is kind of where we get a little bit. So Phil Houston, he was a starter last year, got hurt. And Larry Johnson, a massive guy coming over from Tennessee. Excited for him. Larry Johnson the third. Let me see, where did I have him? 6'7", 350. Zy Chrysler the same. But excited for him, and we'll see what he does. But again, I would not be shocked as well as if Philip Houston wins that position as well. But again, that's where I think the starting offensive line is going to be week 1 versus Georgia Tech. And look, this is we're going to see them in action. First game of the season, Friday night kickoff. They're going to have to run the ball this year. These last 2 years, they haven't been able to. They had the luxury of having, Shador Sanders there, Travis Hunter out there, Jimmy Horn, LeJontay Wester, Will Shepherd. I mean, and again, we talked about Amari Miller, but they have to be able to run the football. I would expect Caden Salter as well. Caden Salter, again, he brings that different dynamic as well, right? Option your zone read plays. He's going to create a lot of problems as well, because he can, what a lot of people think of is running quarterback, can throw. Caden Salter can do both. And again, you watch some of that tape from Liberty, the 23. Dude had an arm. Dude has a cannon. So I'm excited for him. And again, Julian Lewis as well. If he's the one that wins the job, Julian Lewis can move too. So it's gonna be a fun season. It's gonna be a fun season, but I expect them to be able to run the football. You'll see Buffs are gonna be able to play some, run down the clock, get that defensive break, not always have to throw it, but this offensive line is massive. Let's see. Question was, I feel like consistency is huge and something CU hasn't had a lot of luck with when having good players. I think over these last few years, so far in the prime era, these dudes are showing up to want to play with them. In years past, it was always hard to recruit at CU, again, for one reason or another. And I'm sure that Prime took the position at CU with the understanding of we're going to spend money on our football program. And again, we've seen nothing short of, Rick George living up to that, the athletic department, the school, with the contract extension, the changing over the turf. They've been spending money there. And again, I think this is, as long as Prime's there, I think the Buffs are in great hands. So I think as we've seen the last couple of years with Prime, luck has shifted. And I think it's going in the Buffs' favor. So rotational players. So Walker Anderson. Again, we talked about a couple of these other guys. Carday Smith. I don't know if he's going to touch the field as a freshman. The dude is talented. It would be awesome if he did. And again, but I mean, we'll see what happens, And again, I don't want to use tie, but if there is a tie at any point where Carday Smith is doing his thing, you would want to think it goes to the younger person, just to build on that. But again, some of these guys have been within the program or whatever it may be. But we'll see what happens. He's not starting week 1, I'll say that, but it would not shock me if mid-season Carday Smith is the right tackle. Wouldn't shock me one bit. Let me see. There's one. And Chauncey Gooden. So bright future. Really bright future as a guard or interior offensive line. And, again, it would not shock me if you do see him and Carday get some burn this year. Those two dudes, again, future of the offensive line right there. But we'll see what happens. But I feel really good about this. This offensive line. Again, this is the position that I am the most excited for heading into this football season, to the 25 season. It'd just be good to get back to, again, the first clip we showed with Purify and Chris Brown, and then I think it was Marcus Houston at one point, running the football again. And I think this is going to bring us back again, even Philip Lindsay, however many years, 8-9 years ago. But really excited to see what the Buffs do, this offensive line, what they can do in this upcoming season. Position battles, we kind of, we went over some of that, but and again, Cooper Lovelace, look out for him at center, right tackle. Watch for Phillip Houston. Again, freshman Carday Smith, Chauncey Gooden could force playing time if they stand out early. Again, these are good problems to have right now. Like we talked about, Andre Giroud is now a former Pro Bowler. He is the new offensive line coach with what's his offensive line coach leaving, guy from, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, he is departed. Was it Ole Miss that I think he ended up at? Ole Miss or Mississippi State? One of the two. But won't be here. But Andre Giroud's back with the Buffs. So pretty excited. Pretty excited for that. So let's just talk a big picture takeaway outlook. What I see is, again, a massive offensive line, whether it is a offensive line starter, either high-level porter transfer or elite recruit. Again, Jordan Seaton starts and ends with him, anchors the line. Again, really excited for him. And again, I would say the part that remains a question mark is how quickly can they gel to get some chemistry there. And again, offensive line, it takes time with offensive lines. The different calls, reads, knowing what each other is going to do, all these, that is a position that's going to take some time. So we'll see how it goes. And again, I'm sure they're working their tails off at it right now at camp. But really, really, really excited to see this massive offensive line this year. Let me see. Another question: are Caden and Juju running QBs? Do you expect the O-line to be able to protect and provide time in the pocket? I would say Caden is the running quarterback. He's the one who has the legs on him, but he can also throw. I would say Julian Lewis, give him a comp. I don't want to say Shador Sanders. He can move better than Shador, but Julian Lewis is going to beat you with his arm. And again, that dude, like we talked about, one of the best quarterback prospects that kid, I should say, one of the best quarterback prospects that I have ever scouted. Really excited for him, though. Again, he's the future, but Caden can run. Caden can move. It creates a really cool dynamic. If they do, and again, jumping the gun here, but if they go that 2 quarterback system, you almost have to, it's almost 2 different game plans that the other team has to plan for. So one is he's going to beat us with his legs. He's going to beat us with the legs. It confuses them and it keeps the defense on their toes. So really excited for that. Do you expect the line to be able to protect and provide time in the pocket? Yes, I do. I think that is going to be, the part that I'm most looking forward to, because I know that they'll be able to run the football. But as far, power run. And again, I would even say with that massive of offensive line, like, you still need to run zone, but power offense, power gap runs. Really excited for that. But I think that's where they need to make their bread and butter this year. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the passing game. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of the chemistry have to grow. Got Jose there amped up for it. Appreciate it, Mike. But yeah, and again, so just, next episode, we're going to look, we'll do a little dive, what camps look like on Friday. We're going to start shooting for a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, if you're curious. But if you, we'll dive into that, the same kind of format. What I want to look at on Friday is the linebacker position. So we'll do a deep dive into that. Check that out. And again, just thanks for being with us. Offensive line has flipped in a single offseason. One of the worst in FBS to what I think is going to be one of the best positions in college football. The Big 12. So again, we'll talk about linebackers next week. Again, make sure you hit subscribe, follow, share it out. Follow me again on my X Twitter name. Again, I promise you that's not a phone number there, or it's not a fake profile. So make sure you go follow. And then we have at the VOCFB, Voice of College Football. Make sure we give them a follow as well. Really great content that they do. Be on the lookout, for their national show, other teams, Big 12 show. But yeah, tons of information out there. But yeah, give us a follow here. Appreciate it. Have a good evening. We'll catch y'all on Friday. Let's go Buffs, baby.